Hi everyone, welcome back to the studio. It's been a while since I've been here, but I'm very excited to be back, and I'm very excited to bring you a new crochet along for 2024. I decided that I wanted to try a garment. You all know that I love crocheting afghans and blankets, and that's pretty much what I've become known for the last year or so. But I do love crocheting everything, and garments are my first love. So I crocheted the Pando sweater shawl. This unique kind of construction is a combination of a sweater, which is what it looks like from the front and the back, and a shawl, which is more how it's constructed. I love the idea of a versatile garment that can fit a wide range of body sizes and types. And I also love the idea of a garment that can take you from one season to the next to the next. Pando can be made in a wool yarn, which is what I chose, Lion Brand Woolies, which is a worsted weight wool acrylic blend yarn that's perfect for just about every season. If you'd like, you could make it in cotton or acrylic. I would just warn against using something too heavy like silk or a mercerized cotton, because then the cables would get lost. So this crochet along is going to be split up into a few different sections. Section 1, today, we're going to talk about the garment. We're going to get started stitching the garment, and I'm going to show you how to work the first 10 rows. So this sweater shawl is constructed in a kind of unique way. First, it's a really long rectangle, almost like a scarf. That's a little bit wider than what our standard scarf would be. Then we pick up stitches after working an edging and work the back. So you can see that we're starting kind of down here. We go up and around. You'll see that we pick up stitches here, and then we work down. And there are two distinct different stitch styles. So this pattern really relies on front post stitches. And that's how we get this beautiful cable work up here. I'm going to show you how to work all the cable twists, how to work all of the stitches, how to work these stitches here, and how to work this basic textural stitch there. I'm going to show you how to pick up all the stitches that you need to pick up in order to work the back. I'm going to show you how to finish and weave in ends and everything. We're going to do this over the course of 4 videos. These 4 videos will take place over the next 5 weeks. Now, if you're watching this after the crochet along, you can of course watch the videos 1 through 4 as quickly as you'd like. For now, we're going to be releasing them in sections. Section 1 will come out today, this video. Section 2 will come out next week. Then we'll take a week off, and then we'll come back and work the last 2 weeks. That's because a large portion of this project is just repeating 15 rows for the bulk of the work. Now, it never gets boring and it's always fun. So I hope you're ready to stitch along with me. All right, so getting started, I have already chained my 47 stitches and worked row 1 and row 2. Now, row 1 is just a row of double crochets, and row 2 is just a row of single crochets. You'll notice in the pattern that row 2 and all even rows, which are our wrong side rows, are simply going to be worked in single crochet. Now, before we move on to row 3, I'm going to grab the shawl. So this is the cable section that we're going to be working on for part 1 and part 2 of our video. On both the right and the left side, we have almost like an alpine stitch. It's basically alternating front post triple crochets. Then we have a basic 4-stitch cable, and in the center we have this really beautiful braided cable. Now, in between, you'll notice that on the right side, we have half double crochets, and on the reverse, we have single crochets. Now, if you've never done crochet cables before, they're super simple to do. They're only ever on the right side. the back side is plain. So this isn't reversible, which is why it doesn't really make for a great shawl or scarf and works much better as a garment. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with row 3. I'm going to chain 2 at the beginning, and then I'll turn my work. We're going to front post triple crochet in the next stitch and half double crochet in the next stitch 3 times. So to do that, we're going to find not the first, but the second stitch from row 1, and we're going to work a front post triple crochet. So to do that, we yarn over our hook twice, and we insert our hook behind the double crochet from the previous, not the previous row, but the previous row. And we insert our hook behind that stitch from right to left. We yarn over, we pick up a loop, we yarn over and pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now you'll notice that, that stitch is there, and on the back, it kind of just leaves a single crochet hanging from the last row. That's okay. We actually skip that stitch, and then into the next stitch is where we work our half double. Okay, so we do that again, yarn over twice. We're going to skip the next double crochet from the row 1, and then working into the next double crochet, we'll go behind the stitch and pull up a loop, pull through 2, 3 times. Next, we yarn over, we insert our hook into the next single crochet, skipping the next single crochet previous. So we're always going to skip the stitch behind the front post triple that we just made. So it's very easy to see on the back where we worked our half double crochet, we skip that stitch, and into the next stitch, we work a half double. So you should have something that looks like this. We'll do that again. And half double into that next stitch. So at this point, we technically have 4 half doubles because the beginning chain 2 does count as a stitch, and we have 3 front post triples. All right, so row 3 is really about laying the foundation for the cables. We really want to make sure we get this right, because if we get this right, then everything else will pretty much fall in line. Next, we'll work a half double crochet in the next single crochet, the next stitch. Now we're going to skip the next 2 double crochet from row 1, and we're going to work 4 front post triples in the next 4 double crochet. So again, we yarn over twice, right to left, and pull through 2, 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. And that's 4. Now on the back from row 2, we're going to skip 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then into the next stitch, we're going to go ahead and work a half double and then a half double into the stitch after that. We're going to skip the 2 double crochet from row 1, and then into the next 2 double crochet, we're going to work 2 front post triples. Then we'll half double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So we're going to skip the 2 stitches in the back that correspond with the front post triples, and we're going to work 4 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, we're going to front post triple into the next 4 stitches. So we're going to skip the 4 double crochet from row 1, then working into the next 4, we will work our front post triples. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skipping the 4 stitches from the previous row to correspond with those 4 front post triples, we're going to work 4 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, we'll work front post triple in the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, 2. Going to skip those 2 at the back and half double crochet into the next 2. Then we're going to front post into the next 4. We're getting close to the end here. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, we'll half double crochet into the next 2. We'll front post into the next stitch. Half double crochet into the next stitch. Front post into the stitch after that. Half double crochet into the stitch after that. And for the last 2 stitches, we'll work our front post. And we'll half double crochet into the very last stitch. So that takes us all the way through row 3. You can kind of see how things are shaping up. We have our alpine stitch on each side. We have our 4 stitches on each side for a 4-stitch cable. And we have the start of our braided cable with 2 stitches on each side and 4 stitches in the center. Now, the most important part moving forward as we work these rows is to make sure that we have these specific sections. You can always add stitch markers. I choose not to simply because a lot of the cables move, the braided ones here at the center, but you are more than welcome to do whatever you feel you need to do in order to make this pattern more adaptable and to make it work for you. Now for row 4, we're going to just single crochet in each stitch across. So I'm going to pick up my work and chain 1. I'm going to turn it, and I'm simply going to single crochet in every stitch. I'm not going to skip any. I'm not going to do anything special. Just going to single crochet. So to begin row 5, we're going to go ahead and chain 2 at the beginning. Remember that counts as our first half double crochet. Now we're going to work we're going to go ahead and work our alpine stitch, which means that we need to make sure that these front post stitches are offset a little. To do that, we're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to work a half double crochet, we're going to work a front post triple crochet around the post of the half double crochet from row 3. So to do that, we yarn over our hook twice. We go from right to left. You want to make sure you go under kind of that little arm there to the left of the half double. And then you want to pull up a loop and pull through 2-3 times. Again, we'll half double into the next stitch, and then we're going to insert our hook from right to left behind that half double, going under that little arm that's right there. Pull up a loop, pull through 2-3 times. Now we're going to half double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. That'll get us to our 4-stitch cable. Now for this 4-stitch cable, we're going to go ahead and do a cable twist. Now a cable twist sounds a lot more difficult than it is. It's actually pretty easy. To do it, we'll yarn over our hook twice. We'll insert our hook from right to left in the 3rd post of these 4 posts. And then we'll work our front post triple. Now don't worry about the fact that you'll have a longer loop here. It'll disappear in the end. It's not that big a deal. Yarn over your hook twice and go behind the 4th stitch. So we're essentially working our first 2 front post triples in the last 2 stitches of those 4 stitches. But see how it's starting to lean? That's what we want. Next, you can chain 1 in between these 2 to make it a little bit easier to navigate. It's not required and it's not traditional, but I do find for beginners, chaining 1 in between the 2 stitches when you're doing the twist does sometimes help. Yarn over, and you're going to come back and go under that first front post triple and work your front post triple. And I know sometimes I have a tendency to put my thumb in the way, so I'm trying to consciously not do that. It's just how I hold my work. So we're going to yarn over twice and then go into the second. So we're still working 4 front post triples. We just worked the last 2 first and then the first 2 second. And see how that makes a twist? But it doesn't twist your stitches at the top here. So when we work our single crochet back, everything will still line up and we just have our really cool cable twist. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and work our half double crochets. What we need to do is flip our work to the back and we need to count 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which means my hook needs to go here. So I'm going to yarn over and insert it into that stitch, and I'm going to work my half double crochets. I need to do 4 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work into these 2 front posts from row 3. After my 4 half double crochet, I end right above the second of these 2 front post triples. So the next 2 stitches would technically be here. We're going to kind of lean to the right a little. So I'm going to work a front post triple into the first front post triple that's kind of just to the right, but it's right below. And then I'm going to do a front post triple into the next. All right. Now at the back of our work, this is where the skipping stitches comes into play and is super important. We want to make sure that as we're working across, we're kind of counting the stitches that we need to count. So these next 2 single crochets from row 4 correspond with these 2 front post triples, okay? But we're not going to work a half double. What we're actually going to do is work a front post triple into the first 2 front post triples from this group of 4, okay? Dropped a stitch there. All right, so if you look, you can see how these 2 stitches are leaning into one another, and these 2 stitches here are leaning in. Now, we're not increasing or decreasing any stitches. We're just kind of shuffling the stitches around. So next, we need to look at the back of our work and we need to find those first 2 stitches that we skipped, and then we need to find the next 2 that we made. So we need to skip 4 stitches total. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then this is the stitch I'm going to work into. All right, so I'm going to work 4 half double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, you're probably thinking, Ron, where are those 4 stitches coming from? This doesn't really make sense. You just kind of have to trust the pattern at this point. We there's 4 stitches in between this cable and this cable, right? We took 2 of the stitches and put them here, and we took the other 2 and put them here. We're going to do the same over here. We're going to take these 4 stitches and split them up. So there'll be 2 here and 2 here. So next, we're going to work a front post triple around the third of that 4 double crochet or front post triple crochet, group. And we'll work another front post triple. Then we're going to skip all these stitches and work into the next 2 front post triples that are 4 stitches away. Oops. 1. There we go. And you can tell that when it comes to cables, you end up working quite loosely, but it tightens up after a while. So now we're going to skip stitches 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to go into this stitch here. So I am going to work my 4 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're at the point where we need to do our next cable twist. So remember, work a front post triple into the third of the 4 group, and then into the 4th of the 4 stitch group. Then chain 1 if you want. Then work a front post triple around the 1st of the 4 stitch group and the 2nd. And that creates our cable twist. Then we skip 4 stitches at the back, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we work 3 half doubles. Remember those 3 stitches, that's what gets us all set up and ready to do our alpine stitch. That's what gets us to do the alpine stitch and kind of make sure it's offset. And we're just doing the same thing that we kind of did at the beginning. And when you get to the last 2 stitches, you just half double crochet into those last 2. And that, ladies and gents, is the end of row 5. All right, so as you can see, I've already went ahead and worked my wrong side row, my row 6, all the way across, which was just single crochet. One thing that I do want to mention that came up as I was stitching it is that if you do put your chain 1 space in between these cable twists, please remember to not single crochet into those chain 1 spaces. It'll actually add 2 stitches, which doesn't seem like a lot, but the number of cable twists that we do, it will create a trapezoidal effect to your work. So just keep that in mind. If your stitch count is off and you have been doing the chain 1 spaces, that could be the culprit. All right, so moving on to row 7. This is kind of what I like to call a rest row. It's relatively easy. We're simply going to keep the pattern that we have already. We're just going to be working front post stitches into the front post stitches from the previous row, with the exception of the alpine stitch at the beginning and the end. I've already chained 2 at the beginning. So next, we're going to work a front post into the first stitch there, and then a half double into the next. So we're essentially repeating what we did in row 3. And this is what I like about this sweater shawl is it kind of repeats itself a little bit. So it is easy to get into a rhythm, especially at the beginning and the end, and to identify, did I do something right or wrong? As I was stitching, I would see that maybe my front post triples looked a little off. So I could tell that maybe I didn't do something right on the previous row or on this row during the stitching, whatever it is. So, all right. After we've done that, we're going to half double crochet into the next stitch. I'm going to finish that repeat, and then I'm going to half double crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to work 4 front post triples around these next 4 stitches. Takes a little bit of finding, but what we'll do is yarn over twice. From right to left, we're going to go under that very first front post triple that's kind of hiding in the back. We'll pull up a loop and pull through 2-3 times. We'll do the same to the next front post triple and the next and the next. That gives us all 4. So see how even though we have that twist, we still end up with 4, and it looks just like it did from the previous row where we set everything up, row 3. Now we're going to skip the 4 stitches at the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to work 4 half doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I only worked 3. I lied. Yeah, I only did 3. All right, so there's 4. Next, we're going to work 4 front post triples around these next 4 stitches. So 1, whoops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cool beans. All right, so now we're going to skip 4 stitches in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to work 4 half double. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you'll be able to see that these 2 stitches, or these 4 stitches, started out as, independent. Now they're coming together. Same thing over here. Now we're going to, after we work our 4 half doubles, we're going to do the same thing and work 4 of our front post triples right in a row. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the back, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So next, we need to work 4 half doubles. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll work 4 triples around the next 4. So we kind of have a pattern repeat here of 4 front post triples and 4 half doubles. All right. Then we need to skip. This is where counting is important. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to go into this stitch and work 2 half doubles. Now we'll drop down, and working into this half double, we'll work our front post triple, a half double in the next stitch, front post in the next, half double in the next, front post in the next after that, and half double in the last. Now we're going to work our row 8, which will just be single crochet across. While I'm doing this, I want to say that while I know I'm moving a little bit fast, that's because this is technically an intermediate pattern. You should have a strong grasp of the skills of basic crochet and even a little bit beyond that. You should know how to do front post stitches and how to be able to read a pattern. You should be able to have finished at least some larger projects, whether they be scarves or maybe some mittens or even a nice big scarf. The reason that we kind of put that difficulty level on there is because there's a lot going on, and we just want to make sure that you don't get too frustrated. If you're an adventurous crocheter like me and you want to try, I applaud you, and I think that's amazing. Just keep in mind that that's why I move a little bit fast. If you need to slow down the video, YouTube does allow you to slow it down so you can see what I'm doing a little bit more. Always remember that within the pattern, I include my email. So if you have any questions, you can always email me and I will do my best to answer them. All right, so this is what your work should look like after we've completed row 7 and row 8. Now we're going to go on to work row 9 and row 10. Row 9 is going to be the last row where we'll be working on the cable side of things. Row 10 will be our single crochet round, or row, sorry. So we're going to chain 2, and we've already turned. We're going to half double crochet into that first stitch, and then we're going to work a front post triple into the next stitch after that. A half double after that, front post after that, and half double after that. After you've completed that little first section there, we're going to move on to our center cables. So we'll do a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then, that's a lie. Then we're going to work another cable twist. So we're going to yarn over twice. And we're going to work our front post triples into stitches 3 and 4 of that 4-stitch group. Then we'll go back and work in stitch 1 and 2 of the 4-stitch group. We're going to do this little twist here, just like we did on the previous row. That just gets us all set up to be where we need to be. Now I'm going to work 4 half doubles. Then we're going to work another cable twist. So we're going to work a front post triple into stitches 3 and 4 of our 4-stitch group. So there's 1 and 2. Now we're going to come back and work into stitches 1 and 2. So there's the first one and there's the second one. So you should have now a cable twist in the first 4-stitch group and the second. Now we're going to half double in the next 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That takes us right to our next 4-stitch group. So for this 4-stitch group, we need to work our front post around stitch number 3 and 4, then come back and work our front post triple around stitches 1 and 2. Then, making sure we're skipping all of our stitches at the back, I like to check from time to time. We'll do 4 half doubles, and then we're going to come to our last 4 triple front post triple group. And again, we'll work a cable twist. So front post triple into stitch number 3 and then 4, and then we turn our work, or not turn it, rotate it if you will, and go into stitches 1 and 2. Then we're going to work our 3 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Front post in the next half double from the previous row. Half double in the next stitch. Front post in the stitch after that. And then we're going to half double into the last 2. All right, then we'll turn and single crochet across. This is what you should be seeing. You should see alpine stitch on each side. Then you should have a 4-stitch cable that has 2 twists in it. Then our center cable, which is between my hands here, and those should start out with a group of 2 and a group of 4, which have now transitioned and moved to 2 groups of 4, which have a cable twist. That is what completes this part 1 of our crochet along. These 10 rows make up the first 5 rows of our pattern repeat, along with the first 5 rows of our foundation. We still have a lot of work to go, but I wanted to make sure that we got through and we got a little taste of what this looks like. If your work doesn't look like this, or if you're just not confident that you have all the stitches down, I encourage you to take the next week to do this a couple times. That'll get you ready for our next part 2, in which we work rows 10 through 20 to complete our full pattern repeat. After that, we'll have a lot of time learning how to do all these stitches and all these cable twists, because we have a long scarf section to make. Now remember, all the directions for this can be found on my blog. You can get the patterns below, all that good stuff, but I wanted you to be able to see what this looks like and see how the stitches work. So that's it for this part of the crochet along. Make sure you check the blog for any more information about when the next part is going to drop. I'll make sure to post everything there. Remember, you can buy the pattern linked down below. You can also purchase the kit, which is linked down below. Some of those are affiliate links, which help us keep running the channel and keep making more tutorials. I really appreciate you coming to the studio today and learning how to crochet this first part of the Pando crochet along. I can't wait to watch this sweater shawl come together, and I can't wait to see what you all stitch up there. So until next time, happy stitching. Bye, guys.